Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, November 21st, 2019. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Just a couple more days here until we head into the holiday shortened week next week. Right now, you see that price pulled back over the last couple of days in the ES and had two back-to-back down days, but also dropped nicely into the 8-period average or below it and pulled back out of it by the end of the day. So we saw a little bit of an initial rejection there. In after-hours trading, we did get an open gap downward right in after-hours trading, but that gap quickly filled back up. We're now back above the previous session's close at the moment. And you can see right here inside and below that 8-period average inside the PEMA trigger zone here, it's been bid this entire time, every time it's come into this zone since it went bid originally. And so right now, that's what I mentioned yesterday, that's what I mentioned before, these pullbacks likely to be defended for a continuation higher until proven otherwise. At some point here, for example, a failure to hold 3050 would be significant. A failure to hold that LVN could suggest more weakness, but until then, even a deep pullback into 3050 could still be bought. So right now this market has a lot of upside energy. Pullback still to be defended and bought until proven otherwise. Keep an eye on 3100 just in case that round number starts to see rejection. That could be an early indication of perhaps a move to 3050. So right now everything's still pointing up until proven otherwise. Alright, taking a look here at the NQ, very similar price action. This one right now up as well. Out of the pivot range. So if you dive in here, you can see right there, rather the PEMA trigger zone, this pullback right here into that 8-period average. Again, the last time it happened here, it bounced higher and kept on going. Not that we'll get the same response this time in terms of how far we went and how fast, but this is the zone here that would at least suggest a retest of the highs, if not a push modestly through those highs. So at the very least, we're looking at 8400, maybe 8450. As an upside target here if this thing can find a higher low. Again, if there is a failure, say to hold 8200, that would suggest a bit more of a pullback. But even if this thing were to pull back, say into 8050, that could still be a buying opportunity for a longer term push higher. So right now, everything still suggests more upside. Keep an eye on 8300 for early signs of maybe rejection or a failure to get up higher. That would open up a bit more weakness today. Alright, let's take a look at crude oil now. Crude oil was significant here. We had a major sell-off a couple of sessions ago. Failed overnight low there. That failed low in the overnight session led to a huge day higher, an outside day up at one point. Today holding and pushing higher back above 57s. We talked about before, just looking at that 10-day range or 9-day range that we could get about a 4 to 5 handle move. Again, from these 55s here, the idea was that we could easily retest 58. That's already a +3, but we could even get a little bit higher into the 59 or 60 zone. That could be about a +5. So somewhere between 58 and 60 would be a big upside target. Again, we continue to hold within this channel. Bounced off the lower edge. Perhaps we get to the upper edge. So I'm looking at 59.65 as a good solid upside target here ahead. And again, that would be a solid overflow target, but anything above 58 would be big, because remember, 58 right now, the market has not been able to hold above that zone since that news came out about the Saudi oil fields. Alright, let's take a look here at gold. You'll see right here with gold futures that this one has continued to hold above the 1465, that previous month's low. It dropped down and rejected at the S25 PivotBoss pivot right here and bounced. Another higher low here, and since then it has held the 1465s on the lows. So I mentioned before, 1465 continues to be a big time zone. 1460 is even a big level, and if this area can hold, then perhaps it can bounce into 1500 or perhaps as high as a 1580. That's been our idea ever since this day. So far it's continued to modestly work out in that way. However, we need to see a push through recent highs at 1480. If it can get back above this pivot high right there, these price support levels, that will open up clear air into these upside targets. So keep an eye on 1465 for signs of failure, and above 1480 opens up quite a bit more strength, which could be, you know, a few days from now, or it could be today. You know, we'll see how this thing reacts, but at some point above 1480 we'll squeeze. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.